Hey everyone, it's Katie here again. So today I'm going to talk a bit about my experience with anxiety and how it can really hold you back. So when I grew up, I was quite a chilled back kid, didn't really experience anxiety much. Um, I do remember my first feelings of anxiety. I wouldn't say like that was, my turning point of how I, you know, became who I am today. But, you know, so when I was 15, I was like, oh, cool, I can go get my learner's license. And, it was a theory test for, driving test. Everyone stupidly told me, that it was really easy and anyone can sit there learners and it's just common sense. And so I, the 15-year-old silly naive little girl that I was like, oh, okay, if it's just common sense I won't study and it will all be fine. It was not fine. I ended up failing my test. And so, afterwards, that was my first really, time having feelings of anxiety, having to walk out of the shop knowing that I failed was really embarrassing because this stupid guy who worked at the AA laughed at me in my face. Idiot. Sorry. If you're doing that kind of job, you probably should just not laugh at 15-year-old girls who fail their license test. It's not very nice. Um, anyway, so the first time I really, like, you know, got anxiety was in February 2011 when I was in the centre of Christchurch when there was a 6.3, I think, earthquake. And, that was terrifying. It was so scary. All the control was gone. There was nothing I could do. It was just a sense of powerlessness. Um, I couldn't do anything to help. Like my friends and family, there was no guarantee that anyone was going to be okay. And so that was the first time that I really, properly um, experienced anxiety. That was the real start to, my anxiety disorder. So, I get really anxious if a truck went past and it shook the building. I'd get terrified by it. And then in 2013, I remembered what had happened to me when I was younger. So, I was sexually assaulted. Yeah, and I guess as anyone would feel, I was overwhelmed. I wasn't coping. So I went to my doctor, and she is the first person that I really told about, well, not the first person, but one of the first people that I told about what had happened to me and stuff like that. So, you know, she agreed that I wasn't coping and stuff, so she decided to, she's like, oh, have you thought about medication? Because, I was not coping. I would walk into a shop, see someone I know, run the opposite direction. My anxiety was horrific. So I agreed. I was like, yeah, I probably should, consider medication. So, it took a few times to actually get the right medication that suited me. as it does a lot of the time with, depression or anxiety medication. And I was also diagnosed with depression at the same time, and I also decided to report what happened to me to the police because I didn't want anyone else to have to go through what I'd been through, which was a huge, gutsy move of me to do because walking into the police station, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really know how hard it was going to be. I was just naive 19-year-old who didn't really know what to expect, I guess. So, the court case kept getting, postponed and, because I was supposed to go to court to give evidence a few times, and they postponed it for different reasons, which was really frustrating and, made my anxiety worse, I guess. And, so I met my husband and stuff, while the court case was going on, and near the beginning of the court case, and we started dating and stuff, and I got to a point where I actually felt good enough to come off the medication because I was doing really well. I was feeling better because he really, really helped me with my anxiety because, he's like the opposite to me. So he's really cool, calm and collected. He's opposites attract, I guess. No, he's really knows how to make my anxiety better and make me feel at ease and stuff like that. So, he really helped me with, getting to a point where I could come off my medication, which was amazing at the time, And so, the court case was going on and, it kept getting postponed and it was really difficult. I would get so scared of, thinking about, sorry about that, having to give evidence in court. That was terrifying. But because I had been prepared so many times, it got to a stage where, I wasn't actually that anxious because I'd prepared for it so many times, and then it be let down. And then, so in 2017, there was a real turn in the case where, I'm not going to go into it because I know once you put something out on the internet, you can never take it back. So, I'd rather keep this to the close people around me. But basically, there was a turning point in the case where, they were the defence counsel was really trying to make me look bad. They really wanted to make me look like an absolute liar. They really attacked my character. And, that it was just cruel what they did. It was cruel. I've never begged for, I've only ever begged for anything once in my life, and it was when the detective came over to my house, and I knew it was going to be bad because before he came over, he said, "Hey Katie, just checking that you've got a support person with you," and so I knew it wasn't going to be good. So he came over and explained what was going to happen with, the case and stuff like that. So, like, my worst case scenario went through the roof. Like, this was way, way worse than my worst case scenario, what I thought. And that's the only time I've ever begged for anything in my whole life. I was begging him, crying, saying, please, please no, can this not happen? Is there any other way we can, go through this court case and that not be an option? I'll do anything. Is there any other way that the defence don't have to attack my character like that? And he actually, and I was bawling my eyes out. And this detective, he had been there for 4 years at that point, and he had tears in his eyes, and he's like, I'm sorry, Katie, there's not much I can do about it. The judge has already okayed it, so there's not much I can do. And that was really tough. Like, I really experienced a whole new level of anxiety. Like, it was terrible. I wasn't coping. I was still not on medication at that point. And then, I'd go to sleep and I'd have nightmares that I was being assaulted, and I couldn't get out of it because it was a nightmare. Like, I couldn't just wake up and it all be over. Like, I was paralysed in the jolly dreams. Like, this whole thing that happened in the court case, it really gave me that sense of powerlessness all over again. All those feelings I felt, like when I was being assaulted, I felt when, the detective came to my house and told me what they're going to do. It was like being raped by the system or something. I don't like that wording. I really hate that wording, but it gets really emotional when I say that even. But it wasn't just. It wasn't. They call it the justice system. It wasn't just. Everything that was happening, I still can't understand. Like, I still look at it and go, that's not fair. Everything that happened during that case, a lot of it wasn't fair. It wasn't okay. It shouldn't have happened. But yeah, me being the absolute fighter that I am, I was like, okay, yep, that's gonna happen. I won't drop the case. Instead, I'll just take it as it comes, I guess. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start a business because I needed to, I guess I really needed to take my mind off what was happening. So I started a business making like bath bombs and body butters and hand creams and stuff like that, and like it was doing alright, like not the best, but it was doing alright. And so yeah, like it was doing okay, and I ended up spending all my time focused on that so that I could cope and not have to think about what my reality actually was. And so I was just keeping myself really busy, just constantly. And after the court case had ended, so that was in 2018, so the court case actually took 5, like over 5 years, which is horrific. Most cases don't last that long. Mine was just a really screwed up case that, as I said, the defence were absolute cruel to me. And so after his sentencing, I, like, I don't know, straight away after, I was really passionate. Like, I was like, I'm going to write letters, I'm going to change the way things are, I'm going to I'm going to do all this stuff, fight for the people who don't have a voice. But then depression came along and anxiety again. And I reached the lowest point in my life. So basically, I just decided to take a break from my business because I wasn't coping. It was the first time in my life I'd got to a point where I wasn't enjoying the things that I used to. I wasn't, it was a struggle to get out of bed in the morning. Everything was an absolute struggle. It really was the lowest point of my life after the case ended, because right the way through the case I said, okay, we've just got to keep on going, Katie, until the case is over, and then we'll figure out the rest once it's over. But, I had no plan once it was over, so that's when everything really crashed and burned. So I went back to my doctor and I said I wasn't coping, so, I tried a few different medications, over a period of months, because I had to find a medication that worked well with me. And I found one that was good for me. So basically it took me a year, a year after the court case had finished. That was when I finally wrote my letters, sent them off, and I actually got letters back from both the Minister of Justice, Andrew Little, and also Jan Logie, who's the spokesperson for sexual violence or something in government. And I got letters back from them saying what things that they are changing here and stuff like that. So that was cool, but I'm still quite scared to start my business, because when you've reached the lowest point in your life, I was so scared that if I started it up again, that I would get back to that dark place that I was in when it all stopped and everything, so I put it off for ages, and I was like, nah, I'll just wait a bit. And then last week I was like, nah, you know what, I'm gonna make some bath bombs. And you know what, it wasn't actually as bad as I thought it would be, and I was so damn proud of myself, because that was something that I had put off so long because of my anxiety. And and also another thing that I've been so anxious about is the dentist. I've been terrified of the dentist because my last experience at the dentist was horrific. So last time I went to not the last time now, but it was 8 years ago, and the lady drilled with no anaesthetic and did a filling with no anaesthetic, and it was very painful, and so I was scared of going to a dentist. But I was like, nah, I just got to go and I just got to do it. And, I did it. I went to the dentist and it wasn't actually as bad as I thought. My anxiety was holding me back for 8 years because I was so scared that it was going to end up like, what I'd experienced earlier. And, now, like, I'm so embarrassed about this, like, I barely tell anyone. Like, the only people who really know this are the ones closest to me, but like, I still don't have my driver's license, and that's something where my anxiety has really held me back. Like, wait, sorry, I do have my driver's license, it's just a learner's driver's license, so I went back and redid the test after actually studying. But yeah, I am gonna try and learn to drive, and I'm putting it up here, out in the open, because my anxieties hold me back for this long. In so many different circumstances has my anxiety held me back, and the reason I'm telling you this is because I really, really want you who's watching this, if you're like putting something off because of your anxiety, like whether it be a doctor's appointment or whatever it be, I want you to just like do it, even though it's difficult, even though your anxiety's like, no, that's not okay, I need to stop. So, I want to challenge you to just do whatever it is that your anxiety is holding you back for. And, I want you guys to keep me accountable to hurry up and get my license, because it's embarrassing, and, I hate not having a license because it's really annoying. Anyway, I'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Alright, bye!